Hello to our freaky family. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Kandi.
And this is Sips of Crime. Welcome back, everybody. How was your weekend? We hope you had a great weekend and happy Monday.
Yes. Hope you enjoyed Happy Hour episode.
Yes. How much fun was that?
It was a ton of fun.
It was a ton of fun. We had so much fun on our trip, and we really hope that you guys enjoyed the bonus episode. And of course, if you guys, want some more of that, we will definitely make that happen for you guys.
But you gotta let us know.
You gotta let us know. So, shoot us an email, send us a direct message on Instagram or Facebook. We love hearing feedback from you guys. Again, just as a reminder, if you guys are listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, leave us a review. It really does help other people find us. And, if you enjoy us, the biggest compliment that you can give us is to share us with your friends. And one of the ways to do that is to simply leave us a review, because it does put us further up on that list. So, along with all of the support that our listeners have given us, I mean, we're in different countries.
Yes, and that's amazing. I never thought just this fun little experiment would go that far. Yeah. And I am so grateful.
Mm-hmm. Me too, for sure. We have 18 Canadian listeners.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah. Along with India, Singapore, Tokyo. I mean, we have international listeners, which is just amazing. So we love you guys so much, and we really appreciate all of the support. But along with that, we've grown this freaky family from not only listeners, but to other podcasters, and they have reached out and offered support, and we appreciate you guys so much too. And one of our newest friends is Twisted and Uncorked. So,
yes.
Yeah. So Alicia and Sierra, reached out to us, and we just started talking, and we are now friends. And so
y'all check them out.
Absolutely. They are a ton of fun. They do something very similar to us. They're winos, which is great because, we love our wine. So we're actually going to play a little clip of their podcast here.
Hello, Twisted Humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cults, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. We're bringing the most intense stories that'll keep you up at night. He was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter and felonious assault, but he was only sentenced to 5 months of probation. And this would be the last time that anyone ever saw him. There are allegedly 2 women who also drowned in the first-class pool.
Was this the same glowing green that they'd seen in the darkness the night before?
He had refused to sit near the wagon cloth because of stains on it, which were most likely blood. Join us every Tuesday for a glass of wine or sangria and a dose of true crime. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra. And this is
Twisted and Uncorked.
So definitely go and check them out. They have had a great following, and they've been a huge inspiration for us and just really good friends. So we welcome them to our freaky family as well. So they actually make these really awesome sangrias from their leftover wine.
Leftover wine. They have leftover wine?
Yeah. I don't know how they have leftover wine.
We never have leftover wine.
We never have leftover wine, but they do.
Okay. Well,
yep.
That's good.
So, they actually have made a pina colada sangria.
Ooh.
So we're going to make it for you guys.
Yes.
Yay!
All right. So.
Yes. Now, I tried to find all of the same ingredients that they used in theirs. Unfortunately, our grocery store and our liquor store was out of everything.
Oh, of course. Well, you know that supposedly since the pandemic.
Yeah.
The liquor stores have just been sparse.
Yeah.
Sparse.
So,
Whatever that word is.
So what we actually have is a Cruzin coconut rum and a Dole pineapple juice, and then we are using a cupcake Riesling. Now, their recipe calls for Malibu rum a Black Girl Magic Riesling, and shredded pineapple juice. But we're going to put it together for you guys, and we're going to give you a little taste test here.
The whole can?
Yeah, the whole can of pineapple juice. Okay.
It's a lot in this can.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. And we just got the little 4-pack can of, like, pineapple juice, which
it's an 8 fluid ounce can.
Yeah, it's perfect. Okay.
All right. And then...
they use 4 ounces of Malibu rum. We are only making 1 glass here, so we're going to use 2 shot glasses. They seem to be a bit braver than we are, so Alicia and Sierra, if...
Sorry, I spilled that on your hand.
It's okay.
Okay.
Please don't be disappointed in us only using a couple of shots instead of the 4 ounces that you recommend, but that seemed a little much for us.
Well, we're winos, not liquor.
We don't drink a lot of liquor.
That's not a thing. Liquor is not a thing. Okay.
All right, and then...
How much wine?
I would just top it off to...
Fill it up?
To fill it up, yeah. All right.
Stir around.
Yeah, a little stir. All right, Alicia, Sierra, we're trusting you. Cheers.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
It's good.
That is perfect. I could, like, sip that on my porch on a sunny day.
I could sip that anytime.
All day long.
I mean, because I love pina colada or, like, coconut rum or anything like that.
Okay. Well...
Delicious. Try it.
Yeah, absolutely. That was delicious. Their recipe is posted on their Instagram, which is where I stole it from. So definitely jump over there, go follow them, and go check them out. They are awesome, and they've been so sweet to us, and we're just so happy and grateful to have them to be a part of our freaky family. Okay, so we do have a featured wine for the episode. As good as that drink was, we did promise a featured wine for each one of the episodes. So, Kandi, what are we drinking tonight?
We are drinking Freixenet Pinot Grigio.
We may or may not be pronouncing that correctly, but that's okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say probably not, but I might be,
The bottle is gorgeous.
It looks very fancy.
I'm saving that.
That's fine.
Can I have the bottle?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Oh, so the back of the bottle does say, this Pinot Grigio is an elegant white wine from the picturesque vineyards of the Garda. Yeah, I guess that's Garda region. Ooh. It has a floral and delicate fruity character with subtle hints of crisp citrus. Enjoy chilled or pair with seafood, vegetarian dishes, fried fish, or sushi.
Yum! I love sushi.
Yes. I'm hoping for mine and my husband's anniversary.
Yes!
We
sushi?
go eat some sushi. Yes.
Cheers. It is a drier Pinot Grigio.
It is a very dry Pinot. I usually love Pinot Grigios. It's drier than a usual red. I would drink a red over that.
I like it. I always like it, though. I haven't found a wine that I don't like.
I'm not even taking another sip of that one, y'all.
You're done?
Usually I take a few sips and we're fine. No, that one is, no.
You can drink your twisted and uncorked
that's
pina
what I'm
colada.
Drink. I'm going to drink with you with 2 glasses in your hands.
Double fisting it over here.
I'm going to drink the sangria.
Your wine. Okay. Very good. All right. So, you have a crazy tale for me today.
I do. So, I have a story. It's called The Fritzl Case.
We felt like this episode did warrant another trigger warning. This episode does contain some graphic information about child abuse and rape. So if that is not your glass of wine, we completely understand, and we will see you during the next episode. No hard feelings.
Which did not come into light until 2008.
Oh, wow.
So, grab a glass.
Grab a friend.
And let's dive in. So, we're going to step back to 1935.
Oh, okay, so not so new.
No, it's not new, but it didn't come to light till 2008.
Gotcha.
But we're going to step back to 1935.
Okay, I'm there.
Joseph Fritzl was born on April 9th, 1935 in Amstein, Austria, to Joseph Sr. and Maria Fritzl. He grew up as an only child, raised solely by his working mother. His father deserted the family when Joseph was 4 and never came in contact with him again. Joseph's father was said later to be killed in World War II in 1944. His name appears on a memorial plaque in Amstein. Joseph's mother, Maria, was a devoted Roman Catholic, and in March of 1938, Austria welcomed Adolf Hitler. Yeah. Joseph and his mother welcomed the Nazi Party, and Joseph even joined the Hitler Youth Program.
Oh, Lord. So we are not starting off on a good foot.
Heck no, we're not. Apparently, when bombs started destroying the surrounding cities is when Joseph's mother became physically, mentally, and sexually abusive to her son. One of Joseph's future sister-in-laws would later state his mother was, quote, beating him until he was black and blue almost every day, unquote. Joseph would eventually back this claim later on in life, saying, "She used to beat me. She hit me until I was laying in a pool of blood on the floor. It left me feeling totally humiliated and weak. I never had a kiss from her. She kept insulting me and told me I was Satan, a criminal, a no-good." He would later claim that his mother never sexually molested him. Most experts believe he suffered sexual trauma as a child, even if the memories have been hidden from his conscience.
So, I know in our last episode we discussed, regular, acceptable discipline.
Right.
From a parent to a child. How we, absolutely had a switch. We got spankings with a belt.
Yeah, but this is
and it wasn't
the one
considered
that
abuse. Laying in a pool of blood definitely crossed. That line that we were talking about last episode, it's crossed. Yeah, it's crossed here.
And I could never imagine I never had a kiss from her.
Yeah, no, that's not there's no maternal instinct there.
And like you said from the other podcast, you feel bad for the child.
Not for the adult. Okay.
But, you feel bad for the child. Like, why?
And you're ultimately stating that he's claiming that he never had any sort of sexual abuse, but experts are saying that, hey, there's no way that didn't happen.
Yes, they're saying that he just kind of disassociated.
He suppressed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
From his conscience.
Wow.
So, in Joseph's teenage years, he was considered a very handsome individual. He had many girlfriends and was more often a loner, though, instead of spending time with his friends. He would devour any books he could get his hands on, and later was said to have a high IQ.
Oh.
In 1956, at the age of 21, he married 17-year-old Rose Marie, which was born on September 23rd, 1939. There isn't much information on Rose Marie before she was married, other than that she had a sister named Christine Renner, but no other family member's identity or what her parents did has come out to the public.
Okay.
So, Joseph completed his education at an HTL technical college with a qualification in electrical engineering.
Okay.
He obtained a job in construction, material firm in Epstein. Later, he became a technical equipment salesman, traveling throughout Austria. He retired from active employment when he turned 60 in 1995.
Okay, so we just made a huge jump.
Yeah. So this is 1995,
and
which is just going to go back. It's just saying eventually he did retire.
Okay. So our story doesn't end. Right?
No.
Okay.
No. We're still back in, 1950s.
Okay.
It's just saying he did retire from active employment. From what Rosemarie said about their marriage, it wasn't all smooth sailing. She said she knew she was getting hitched to a sadist. She described him as someone who was unkind, manipulative, and hard on her children. She even said that the man subdued her and would take every chance he had to publicly humiliate her. He never remained faithful to his wife.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like she knew this while they were married.
Even before getting married. I wouldn't have married him, but Joseph and Rosemarie would go on to have 7 children together. 3 boys and 4 girls. Now, these names of these people, I'm going to murder. I shouldn't say it like that.
Butcher isn't a better word, though. So
these names of these people, I am going to royally mess up.
Yep. I'm ready for it.
Ulrika
Okay.
Fritzl was the first-born daughter in 1957. Then in 1960, they had another daughter by the name of Rosemarie Jr. 3 years later, in 1963, Rosemarie welcomed their third child and firstborn son named Henry. Then it took another 3 years, but she birthed their fourth child, another daughter, and unfortunately, the reason why they're in the spotlight. Her name was Elizabeth. As you will find out, Elizabeth had a terrible experience as a member of this family, if you can call it a family.
Oh, God.
After the birth of their fourth child, Rosemarie gave birth to twin boys in 1971, whose names were Joseph Jr. and Gabriel. The following year, in 1972, the Fritzls would give birth to their seventh and last daughter named Doris. So here's an older picture of Joseph and Rosemarie.
And this is them in kind of their older, stage of life.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the house that everybody grew up in.
All 7 children.
Yep. Okay. In Austria. In 1983, at the age of 15, after completing compulsory education, which is actually not a full, 12th grade education. Mm-hmm. It's compulsory education refers to a period of education that is required of all people and is imposed by the government. This education may take place as a registered school or at other places.
Is this something that's, standard maybe in,
Austria?
Yeah, not necessarily Austria, but just, European countries in general?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, because ultimately, you get the chance to either graduate high school or you go to college and get your GED.
It wasn't very
here
clear.
in America, so
it might be to 12th grade, but the way I took it was it wasn't.
Okay.
But I could be completely wrong.
If you know, let us know.
So, Elizabeth started a course after she had finished the education to become a waitress. This is when she attempted to run away from the home due to the constant abuse that the household endured from Joseph. She ran away and went into hiding with a friend from work, but she was found after 3 weeks and brought back home by the authorities. She rejoined the waitress course and finished in mid-1984 and was offered a job nearby.
So, in Austria, you there's actually a course that you could take to become a waitress.
I guess so.
Because, let's face it.
There's not one in America.
There's not one here in America.
No.
Anybody can take that job.
So, this is Elizabeth when she was 15.
Okay.
As we go through the story, these will be the last pictures that you see of Elizabeth.
Okay, so let me take these in really quick. So, she looks like any normal, happy, teenager. Yeah. Oh, that's heavy to know. Okay.
But this would signal the beginning of horrible things the evil and cruel Joseph would do. The perfect excuse to make Elizabeth disappear forever. He figured if she ran away, she would have no problem doing it again. So in 1984, when Elizabeth had just turned 18, she went missing again. Rosemary's reaction was to call the authorities and alert that her daughter was missing. But after some investigation and about a month later, Joseph left authorities and his wife to believe that Elizabeth had run away a second time and probably joined a cult. He did this by handing over a letter postmarked Brno, which is a town in Upper Austria on the border of Germany. It stated she was tired of living with her family and was staying with a friend. She warned her parents not to look for her, and she would leave the country if they tried to look for her. Unknown to everyone except Joseph, Elizabeth was actually right in the house, handcuffed and locked in a soundproof basement. Joseph had lured Elizabeth into the basement of the family home by saying he needed help carrying a door. Joseph had been converting the basement into a prison chamber. The door was the last thing he needed to seal it. He told Elizabeth to hold the door in place while he fitted it to the frame. After holding it in place, Joseph took an ether-soaked towel and held it on her face until she was unconscious, then threw her into the chamber. Apparently, it was pretty normal in those days of the Cold War to build nuclear bunkers in the basement of houses, so getting the permission was not difficult for Joseph. He, in fact, got a grant of £2,000, which is $2,600 in U.S. money, from the local council towards the building cost.
Okay. So what you're ultimately telling me right now is that because she ran away that first time, trying to escape this, probably what was already happening, this terrible situation, he is using this against her to hide her in this bunker that he got permission to build.
Yep.
And she helped him build the door.
She helped him put in the door.
Yeah, like she ultimately held the door for him so that he could finish building it to secure her in it.
Yes.
Is what you're... Okay.
So, you're probably not through a whole glass of wine yet, but go ahead and fill it up. Ready?
Yeah.
Elizabeth would spend the next 24 years as a captive in her own home, and to make matters worse, she was a sex slave to her own father.
So that was the ultimate, motive.
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh, God.
So now I'm going to tell you.
Can we just pause for just a second? Can I ask you, and you might cover this here in just a minute, but what does her mother think is going on right now?
We're going to cover that.
We're going to get there? Okay. Yep. Okay, continue.
No, we're going to, well, technically, her mother thinks she ran away to a cult.
Oh, okay, so the story that he told...
that he had got.
The story that he told police is what he also told his wife.
Yes, he went and got the letter, stamped, by the mail.
Right.
It had legit went through the mail, through this town. This is supposedly, where she's at. She's supposedly joined a cult.
By all accounts, this letter looks legitimate.
Yes.
And his wife is under the impression that this is what happened. So she doesn't know about the construction of this basement.
No.
Okay.
So... Joseph would visit Elizabeth in the basement chamber every day or a minimum of 3 times a week, bringing food and other supplies. At times, she was made to catch rats with her bare hands. Her father at first tied her up with an iron chain in such a way she could barely move a meter on either side of the bed. He eventually gave her more freedom by attaching the chain to her waist. While down there, he would repeatedly rape her numerous times during the course of this 24-year captivity. But with the chain causing trouble during this, he ended up removing it after a few months. Due to his actions, this resulted in Elizabeth giving birth to 7 children. Unfortunately, one of the children, who was having difficulty breathing, passed away 3 days after his birth, and Joseph burnt the body in the basement.
Oh my God.
When the babies started coming, it was horrifying for Elizabeth. She actually tried to commit suicide, but looking at the kids, she knew she had to live for them.
So they're all in this basement. These children that she's giving birth to.
We'll get there. Yep. She gave birth to all the babies without medical help for almost 12 years. Joseph provided her with, get this, disinfectant, a pair of dirty scissors, and a freaking book on childbirth.
Oh, good. Yeah. That's helpful.
Joseph also forced Elizabeth to write letters that would strengthen up the fabricated lie he spun up of her running away. Joseph made sure his wife knew she could never go into the basement for any reason at all. That was his space.
So his wife is living in this house with him and forbidden to go downstairs.
Yep. So, in fear of her husband, she never went down there. Rosemarie, who already lived in fear of her husband, was forced to believe Joseph about Elizabeth and was actually forced to raise 3 of Elizabeth's children. Lisa, Monica, and Alexander. Joseph convinced her with another fake letter from Elizabeth saying that she couldn't take care of the children on her own. Joseph and his wife were approved by social services as their foster parents. They said he was very plausible and explained how his 3 infant grandchildren had appeared on his doorstep.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're telling me that his daughter's being held captive downstairs in a basement.
Yep.
That his wife's not allowed to go in.
Yep.
And I don't mean to recap everything that you're saying. I'm hearing you. I truly am. But I just have to wrap my head.
It's a lot.
Around what you're saying in my own words. So I apologize to any listeners that get annoyed with this tactic that I have. But you're telling me that his daughter is in the basement. His wife's not allowed, her mother is not allowed to go down there. And then through post mail, they receive a letter stating that their daughter, who is apparently off
in a cult
somewhere,
not taking care of her children,
is now delivering those children to their front doorstep.
Yep.
And her father is just willingly saying, oh, well, of course this would happen.
Yeah, in social services.
Take them in. And then social services
fabricates this whole lie that we're about to get into of how the children came to be on his doorstep.
Okay.
So apparently,
wow.
He stated that Lisa was born in May of 1993. At 9 months old, she was discovered outside the family home in a cardboard box, allegedly left there by Elizabeth with a note asking for them to look after their child. The other child, Monica, was found at 10 months old on a pushchair outside the entrance of the house. Shortly after, Rosemarie receives a phone call, and the caller sounds like Elizabeth, but it's assumed that Joseph used a recording of her voice. Rosemarie apparently reported this incident to the police and expressed that she was astonished that Elizabeth knew their new unlisted phone number.
Yeah, so she's on to it. Like, I mean, she's thinking, like, this is a red flag.
Yeah, she presents it to the police, but do they do anything about it?
Do they?
No.
Of course not.
Alexander, at the age of 15 months, in the similar circumstance as his sisters, was left for them to take care of. The family received regular visits from social workers, who saw and heard nothing to arouse suspicions.
And they never went into the basement?
Nope, apparently not. Following the children's birth in 1994, Joseph allowed an enlargement of the prisoned basement, putting Elizabeth and her children to work, making them dig out soil with their bare hands for years.
To expand it?
Oh, yeah. Listen to this. Expanding the prison they held from 380 square feet to 509 square feet. The ones held captive with Elizabeth, the other 3 kids, who were named Kirsten, Stephen, and Felix. Felix was born in December of 2002. They had a TV, a radio, and a video cassette player. Food would be stored in the fridge and cooked or heated on hot plates. Elizabeth taught her children to read and write. There were times Joseph would punish them by cutting off their lights and refusing to deliver food for days at a time. He also told Elizabeth and the 3 children they would be gassed if they tried to escape. Later, it would be found that the basement actually had no gas supply, and he just used this as a scare tactic. He also told them that if they tried to meddle with the cellar door, they would be electrocuted.
Oh, my God.
So, here's a picture of it's not the right word to say, but family tree.
Yeah, the messed up family tree.
So here he is. Here's his wife. Here's Elizabeth. And then here's Alexander, Monica, and Lisa. There are not pictures of Kirsten, Stephen, and Felix.
Are we going to find out why?
Yeah, well, I mean, no, they don't say why, but there's not a lot of pictures taken.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, no. I mean, they're being stored in a basement downstairs that nobody knows about. Of course not.
And I looked up the names, and the only other thing that came up was another person I didn't...
Kandi, you told me this case was pretty crazy, but, like, this is insane.
Oh, we ain't even halfway there yet.
Oh, my God. Fill up your glass.
It's a crazy story. It's not even a story. It's a freaking incident that is
I mean,
nuts.
this is like this is something that actually happened. I mean, we call these stories, but we say the word story, but like, I mean, everything that we cover is fact. I mean, it did happen.
It did.
Oh my gosh! Please continue.
So, according to the sister-in-law Christine, who was Rosemarie's sister, that's the only person we know of her family. Joseph went into the basement every morning at 9 a.m. to draw plans for the machines which he sold to firms. He often stayed there for the night and did not allow his wife to bring him coffee. A tenant who rented the ground floor room in the house for 12 years claimed to hear noises from the basement, but Joseph said it was caused by the faulty pipes or the gas heating system.
You're trying to tell me that somebody lived downstairs in another section of the house? Not just one person?
There was multiple people who rented this place.
Downstairs, like next door to this basement?
Yeah.
And they hear these things going on, and Joseph is being like, oh, no, it's just the pipes.
Yeah, as I put, lies.
Lies.
Which...
So none of the tenants reported anything because...
They were told it was faulty pipes.
Okay.
So, these next 3 pictures I'm going to show you, because there's not a lot of information or story about the 24 years that she was held captive. I mean, what can you say?
Yeah, no, I mean...
other than...
Nobody's taking pictures. Nobody's down there reporting.
Other than the brief...
The whole point is to be a secret.
Right. And other than the brief information that we have, here is a little hallway to the bed.
Like that is that a bedroom or is okay.
Here's the sink and bathtub they lived in.
The facilities.
And then down here...
Oh, this is like a layout of the house. Okay.
So down here is where he came from the house.
Is this the entire downstairs?
Yeah, this is the basement. So this is his utility room and his workshop.
Okay.
And then he has a secret door right here, which we'll get into.
Oh, okay.
That nobody would have known about.
Okay, so everything from this side over is like nobody knows about. His wife's not allowed to go down there.
Yep.
Tenants.
Like, if she did go down there, she only sees the utility room and the workshop.
And she thinks that's it.
Yep. And apparently there's this secret door.
And you said that they expanded.
Yes.
So, do you know how much of this was, like, done by them?
It didn't say. It just said the 300 and X amount of square feet to 500 and X amount. And so, here was a living area. There was a padded room insulated with soundproofing foam.
Oh, we can only wonder what that was used for.
The bathroom, which I showed you.
Yeah.
And then the little hallway right here to bedroom 1. Okay. And then there's another bedroom.
Okay, so this like sections off.
Yep.
Okay.
So right behind this bathroom.
Gotcha.
Way back is another bedroom.
Oh my gosh. You guys, please go to the Instagram so that you guys can like actually see what we're talking about, because this is insane. Like, looking at the actual layout that she's like walking me through right now. All of this is unknown to passerbyers, to the freaking wife that lives in this house. She doesn't know any of this exists. Yep. So please jump over to the Instagram or to the Facebook and see the layout that they've put together, because that is horrifying. Oh my God.
I couldn't imagine. So on April 19th, we're going to fast forward from these 24 years of Elizabeth being held captive, because again, there's not much information other than repeating what we've said. Right. And we don't want to do that.
No, we don't want to do that.
So on April 19th, 2008, Joseph agreed to seek medical attention for Kirsten, which is one of the children in the basement.
Was this one of the children that the wife like took in? Okay, so this is one of the children that's been held in the basement this whole time.
Are you ready for this?
No, but hold on. Okay.
Go ahead and take a sip. So Joseph agrees to seek medical attention after Kirsten, who is one of the children in the basement. The eldest daughter, who was then 19.
Oh my God.
She fell unconscious. Elizabeth helped carry Kirsten out of the chamber in the basement and saw the world for the first time in 24 years. But Joseph forced Elizabeth back into the basement, where she remained for another week. Kirsten was taken by ambulance to the local hospital and admitted in serious conditions, with life-threatening kidney failure. She was amid a psychotic fit. She pulled out her own hair, leaving several bald patches, became severely anemic, and had bitten through her tongue, filling her lungs with blood, and causing several of her organs to fail.
Oh my God.
Joseph later arrived at the hospital with a note written by Elizabeth, Kirsten's mother. Joseph discussed the letter and Kirsten's conditions with the doctor, Albert Reeder.
So all of these medical people are still taking these letters that he's like bringing in.
Well, this is only the first time, other than your social workers of the first 3 kids.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like all of these like medical people, like these social workers, his wife, they're all taking these letters that he keeps presenting as like, oh, my daughter is off in this cult somewhere, and she's delivering all of these children to us and providing us information as to what we should do with them through these letters.
And I actually have a letter that was to the doctor from Elizabeth on this day.
Are you going to read it?
Yep.
Oh, my God.
The letter stated, Wednesday, I gave her aspirin and cough medicine for the condition. Thursday, the cough worsened. Friday, the coughing got worse. She even bit her lip as well as her tongue. Kirsten is very scared of strangers. She has never been in a hospital before. I have asked my father for help because he's the only person she knows.
And the doctors are reading this letter, and no red flags are popping up?
Medical staff found aspects of Joseph's story puzzling and alerted the police on April 21st.
Oh, thank God. Okay. So we're getting somewhere now.
Kind of. The police broadcasted an appeal on public media for the missing mother to come forward and provide information on Kirsten's medical history.
And of course she can't, because she's being held captive in the basement.
Exactly. The police reopened the case file of Elizabeth's disappearance. Of course, Joseph repeated the same story about her running off with a colt and claimed the most recent letter from her, dated January 2008, posted from the town of Cometon. Probably not even pronouncing that right, but it's fine. The police contacted Manfred Wolfart, a church officer and expert in cults, who raised doubts about the existence of the group Joseph had described. Manfred stated that he thought the letters from Elizabeth seemed dictated and oddly written. On April 26th, 5 days later, Elizabeth begged her father to take her to the hospital. He finally released her and her sons, Stephen and Felix, bringing them upstairs, telling Rosemary that Elizabeth had decided to come home after being gone for 24 years. She was now 42 years old.
Oh, my God.
He and Elizabeth went to the hospital where Kirsten was being treated. Following a tip from Dr. Reeder that Joseph and Elizabeth were at the hospital, the police came in and detained them on the hospital grounds, then took them in for questioning. Elizabeth would not provide any details to the police until they promised her that she would never have to see her father again. Over the next 2 hours, she told the story of her 24 years of being held captive, telling how everything started back when she was 11 years old.
Oh, my God.
He first raped her at 11, and then in 1984 was when he locked her in the underground dungeon. She would proceed to tell them how her father raped her and forced her to watch pornographic videos, which he made her reenact with him in front of the children in order to humiliate her. These acts actually left Elizabeth with not only physical injuries, but of course psychological damage. Shortly after midnight, the police officers completed the investigation, and Joseph was arrested again on the suspicion of the crimes against the family members. Once arrested, he would deny any fact that he indulged in pedophilic acts, stating, "I'm not a man that has sex with little children. I only had sex with Elizabeth later, much later."
11 years
Gross.
old?
She's still a child.
11 years old is much later? That's a child.
Even 18. That's your kid.
No,
That's your daughter.
Oh, my God.
During the night of April 27th, 1 day later, Elizabeth and her mother Rosemary and all the children were taken into care. Police said that Joseph told investigators how to enter the basement chamber through a small hidden door, opened by a secret keyless entry. Rosemary had still been unaware of what had been happening to her daughter.
I just can't personally imagine there being a place in my home
Right.
that I'm simply not allowed to go to.
Agreed.
And would legitimately listen to that order. I mean, if my husband were to be like, oh yeah, don't go into this room. Like, the first thing that I would do as soon as he's gone is go into that room.
And apparently, even if she did go down there,
she couldn't get in because there was this hidden door. Okay.
She may have went down there, and she never says she went down there.
She never admits to actually going and investigating anything.
No, and maybe she did go down there.
But she probably wouldn't admit that because she was scared.
Right, but did she see the secret hidden door? Did she see a keyless entry? Like, it's crazy.
This is rough. Okay.
So on April 29th, it was announced that DNA evidence confirmed Joseph as the biological father of Elizabeth's 6 children. His defense lawyer, Rudolph Mayer, said that although the DNA test provided incest evidence was still needed for the allegations of rape and enslavement. Like, what? Are you freaking serious?
What more do you need? You have a hidden dungeon in your house. All of the information.
You still say the allegations of rape and enslavement are untrue. How the heck, as a defense attorney, can you even say that sentence? Apparently, Joseph had a criminal history that wasn't mentioned in some of the stories about him.
Oh, good.
So, when I was doing this research, I want to say this was maybe like the 6th to 8th article I had read.
Yeah.
That I found a backstory of him having criminal evidence before.
Okay, so what you're about to tell me is stuff that happened like before he enslaved his daughter?
Yes, this happened in 1967, which was apparently in between him and Rosemary having children. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, he broke into a home of a 24-year-old nurse while her husband was away and raped her while holding a knife to her throat and threatening to kill her if she screamed. She recounts the night saying, "I felt the bedclothes being pulled back. At first I thought it was my husband, but then felt a knife being pushed through my throat. I will never forget those eyes." He was also named as a suspect in another case of rape for a 20-year-old woman. He was arrested and served 12 months of an 18-month sentence. But with Austrian law, his criminal record was expunged after 15 years, which is why he was able to adopt and foster Elizabeth's children.
Oh my God.
So, if Austrian law wouldn't have expunged his record of 15 years,
he wouldn't have been eligible to take his children.
No.
Or their children. And this probably would have came out a lot earlier.
Yes. In the May 1st, 2008 press conference, the Austrian police said that Joseph had forced Elizabeth to write a letter the previous year indicating that he may have been planning to release her and the children. The letter said that she wanted to come home, but it wasn't possible yet. Police believe that Joseph was planning to pretend to have rescued his daughter from the fictitious cult.
Oh, God.
Police had plans to interview at least 100 people who lived as tenants in the apartment in the last 24 years.
You're telling me that there was over 100 people that went in and out of this, like, tenant apartment who probably heard.
But he said it was faulty pipes.
How do you convince over 100 people that screams and that rape and that all of the sounds they were hearing of this abuse was from faulty pipes?
That I don't get either.
And none of them were suspicious about that? I don't see how 100 people lived in an apartment that was literally next door.
In 24 years. Yeah.
Yeah, over the course of 24 years, and none of them heard anything. Like, that's baffling to me.
It is. So, March 19th, 2009, after a 4-day trial and 3 weeks before Joseph's 74th birthday, he pleads guilty to the charges of murder by negligence of his infant son and grandson, whose name was Michael, which is the one that passed away with difficulty of breathing.
Yeah.
As well as the decades of enslavement, incest, rape, coercion, and false imprisonment of his daughter. He was sentenced to life. He is now 86 years old and known as the incest monster. Here are 2 pictures of him.
Is that him, like, in court? Like,
that is him going to jail. Yep. Or in court, going to jail. Yep. That is him when he was arrested.
Oh my God, you piece of crap.
And he looks creepy.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
It's just, it's just ridiculous to think. I mean, you and I both have very, very supportive families.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, both of our fathers are extremely active in our lives. I mean, my father helps me run my wedding business, and you know, I mean, your father constantly visits you and your grandchildren, and
we talk on a daily.
Absolutely.
If he's not calling my husband every morning, and I'm like, hey, I'm the daughter.
Yeah.
Why aren't you calling me? Like, I thought you loved me.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous to think that there are people out there who have experienced these tragedies and these from their own family members. I mean, to have your own father manipulate and abuse you the way that this story is unfolding, it's just I can't even wrap my head around it. I don't even have words.
A fellow prisoner told local media Fritzl was and is still separated from everyone else. He has totally withdrawn himself and barely leaves his cell. He doesn't want contact with others, and altogether it looks like as though he resigned himself to dying.
Well, yeah.
The prisoner said, just hearing his name makes me nauseous. So everything else that I have looked up says that he is suffering from dementia.
But he's still alive.
As of right now, yes.
In prison.
And in April of 2019, it's reported that Joseph's health has been rapidly declining. So,
can't say that I feel sorry for you, buddy.
I don't at all. But today, Elizabeth lives under a new identity in a secret Austrian village known only as Village X. The home is under constant surveillance and police patrol every corner. The family doesn't allow interviews anywhere within their walls and decline to give any themselves. The children, now aged between 19 and 33, sleep in rooms with the doors permanently open after undergoing weekly therapy sessions to try and eliminate the traumas they have suffered.
Good for them.
That was a rough one.
Wow. I mean, whenever you told me that you were covering this case and gave me, like, a few, you know, insights about it, and, you know, we discussed a couple of things, I did not know the magnitude.
It was rough. I mean, I know all the cases are rough, but, like, some of the stuff, like, detailed information, I did not include.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily our job as podcasters to divulge every, you know, gruesome detail. I mean, we do pick and choose. I mean, ultimately, the way that I say it is that we have the microphone. We are in control. We're going to share with you guys what we are comfortable sharing with you, and that's where we're going to call it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, these cases,
hard for us to tell some of these stories.
Yeah, these cases are rough.
Research these stories and put it in our own words of what we researched. Mm-hmm. There might be something that you know, or more of a detailed thing that you know that we didn't mention, and there might be a reason we didn't mention it.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, again, we appreciate.
Not that it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we're not trying to be that intense.
No, yeah, and I mean, again, we appreciate any insight that you guys have, any educational things that you want to share with us, but I agree with you. I mean, there are some things that I just choose to eliminate from my case notes because it's, you know, it's gruesome, or it doesn't add anything extra to the case. I think that we are able to tell these stories and to be advocates for the victims without having to include some of those things. So,
and if you have other information that maybe we didn't share that we want to know, or that would be beneficial for us to know about the story, send us a message.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, like I said, we're nice people. We want to talk to you. I mean, we want to hear from you. We want to engage with our listeners. You know, but yeah, this one is definitely a rough one. That was way more intense than I was expecting. So I appreciate the time and the effort that you spent doing it, and I'm sure that it was hard. That was rough.
It was, but I think all the stories are rough, in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no easy way to make some sort of, like, humor in these, you know, stories that
That's
we tell.
why we try at the end, though, to give a somewhat funny story or paranormal or funny facts.
Yeah,
or
something to lighten
facts.
the mood. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think you do have something, though,
I
for
do.
us today to lighten the mood. So, what do you have for me today?
So, these are just some facts that I actually got off a website. I'm going to go ahead and say their website because I did just exactly take what they had, and I don't want to take credit for it. It's a funny website, or it's kind of a weird name. But they have a bunch of stuff. It's called www.cracked.com. And they have a bunch of articles, like X amount of facts that will keep you up at night, or stories that, or murders that are unsolved, or, you know, little things like that.
Yeah.
So, here's some facts that will make you go, okay.
So, we've got some more freaky facts.
And maybe, like, some facts that you're like, I didn't want to know that, but...
We're going to tell you anyway, because it's our podcast
Why
and we
not?
can.
So, Charles of England drank human skulls called the king drops.
I'm sorry, what?
The king drops. The king consumed an alcoholic drink, including a tincture made of skulls taken by grave robbers in Ireland.
And he drank it?
Yep, he drank it.
Oh, good Lord.
Old houses in Ireland have horse skulls buried underneath them. Some historians believe the horse skulls helped with acoustics for step dancing.
You gotta have, you have to have the good acoustics.
You know, I'm not a dancer. I mean, I try when I'm drunk, but...
My mother is a clogger.
Really?
Did you know that
I did not.
Yeah.
So my mother-in-law, who is freaking amazing, by the way, she can shag.
Oh my gosh! So I actually took
Her dad shagged. We went to the beach. We go to the beach with him every year. Unfortunately, her dad does pass away a few years back, and we would go to the beach, and they would get out there, and they would shag. And I can't dance for nothing, and to watch them do it was just so great. And he was such an upbeat person, and the whole family knows how to shag. Even the grandkids know how to shag.
I know how to shag.
Do you?
Yeah. So me and Zach actually were shag partners.
Really?
In middle school.
That's so cool.
Yes, and we do this move called the pretzel, and we have done it at everybody's wedding.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yes, and
I would love to learn how to do it.
Yeah,
so like I could do it with my in-laws.
Yeah,
you know, or you know.
Yeah, me and Zach will teach you like the next time that we're all together.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun, and taking shagging lessons was actually a lot of fun. We had a good time.
I mean, I would try to do it. Or, like, even doing it with my mother-in-law or, like, her mother, my child's great-grandmother, and my husband's cousins and stuff like that. Like, I would love to do it. Just, you know, it just looks so fun and stuff.
It was fun. And my mother has clogged all through her youth. So,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, she like knows how to clog, and she tried her hardest to teach me. I want to say that I was like just entering into high school, so like probably my freshman year, and I never could pick it up. But she's like an expert. Like,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
The Hollandwell incident. Have you heard of that? Because I'd never heard of it.
I was about to say no. I don't know what that is.
It's still unexplained. Which is apparently during a student marching band competition in July of 1980, children suddenly started fainting. 300 students were hospitalized after falling down like 9 pins. The leading theories leaked it to pesticides or mass hysteria.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Carl Tanzler robbed a grave and lived with the corpse for 7 years. The radiology technologist was obsessed with his young patient. 2 years after she died, he stole her remains and slept with her decomposing body for years.
Oh my god.
Beating heart cadavers are when people's bodies live on after death. There have been instances of people who have been pronounced completely brain dead, not just in a coma, whose bodies have lived for up to 20 years. Biologically speaking, there is never a single moment of death. Organs fail in different moments.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I didn't. It was one of my... So I highlighted these as, like, green, as, like, these are better. And then yellow was, like, go ahead and tell it.
Easier to take in.
Yeah, and then orange was, like, you don't have to mention it. I mean, we're going to mention it.
We're going to mention it.
You know.
Oh, God.
So, yeah.
20 years?
Apparently. I don't know how true that is. But apparently it's, okay. Didn't want to know, so... Yeah, freaky fact for you, I guess. The Paris morgue used to be a popular entertainment spot. It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. Probably the sangria that...
It's the sangria. It's the twisted and uncorked sangria.
It probably is. So, the Paris morgue used to be a popular entertainment spot. The morgue used to display bodies in hopes of identifying the drowned. But in the late 1800s, it became a public spectacle, drawing huge crowds and street vendors. This is one of the ones that I was like, we don't have to say it, but we're going to. But I didn't really know about it until I looked it up and saw the pictures, so it didn't really make a bunch of sense. Because when I looked these up, there was like a bunch of pictures, and I wasn't trying to put all the pictures.
No.
I didn't have time for that. Saturn devouring his son was never meant for public display. The famous painting is one of 14 haunting paintings that Francisco Goya painted directly onto the walls of his house, overwhelmed by the Spanish Civil Wars and his personal medical issues.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I need to look that up.
Oh my God.
For my own.
But he like painted
him devouring his son
on the picture, his wall.
Yeah, in the picture I saw, it was you know, when you see like way older paintings.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of, you have to like really be looking at the painting to understand what's going on.
Sure.
It was kind of like that. I'll have to try to show it to you.
Oh my God, send me the picture.
I will try. You gonna have to give me a minute or a few days to look it back up. This one, it's not funny, but I laughed about it. Probably shouldn't have. A cat was buried alive and came back home. A cat was hit by a car and buried. The owners swear it was cold and lifeless. 5 days later, the cat shows up, suffering only from a broken jaw and ruined eye. He wasn't done with his 9 lives. Oh That's what I told myself.
Yeah, he had 8 more to go.
Oh, God. Okay. So this one is a little, weird. It's not a little weird, it's a lot of weird.
It's a lot of weird.
Serial killer William Burgess, which I guess we'll have to look him up because I haven't heard of him until this. Apparently his skin was made into a pocketbook.
Did somebody buy it?
It just says that William Burke was a murderer and grave robber who was publicly executed. After his death, macabre souvenirs were made from his body.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
It is. And the last one. Did you know honeybees use animal poop to defend against wasp?
Oh, good. Me too. Yeah, I do that. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously? Like, I mean, do they pull the...
Apparently, if honeybees will go grab some poop and use it to defend against the wasp, I guess maybe coming into their hive.
Good to know, because I don't like wasps. So
I don't like bees, period. No. I don't like bugs, but, you know, I was up here swatting a mosquito just a minute ago, so it's fine.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we are so grateful for all of you guys being a part of our freaky family.
And thank you, Twisted and Uncorked, for my yummy sangria, because the wine I picked was not for my palate.
You can join our freaky little family both on Instagram and Facebook and find all of the featured photos from this episode
at Sips of Crime.
For a chance to have your story featured on one of our future episodes, send us a Gmail
to sipsofcrime@gmail.com.
And you can find all of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate you giving us a 5-star review because it really helps other people find our podcasts and our episodes. Thanks for listening. Stay alive.